10 bone-chilling true lake house horror stories that will haunt you forever. The lake house loomed under the pale moonlight, casting eerie shadows on the water's surface. The stories surrounding it were whispered through clenched teeth, gripping hearts and igniting imaginations. Each tale was a nerve-wracking chapter in a horror story so dark that it kept you up at night, thinking about the secrets buried beneath tranquil waves. One visitor felt a cold shiver trace their spine as they stepped inside, the floorboards creaking like old bones. Was it just the wind, or something more? Diving deeper into the mystery, locals spoke of an ancient legend, a ghostly woman in white who wandered the shores crying out for her lost children. They said she was the lake's spirit, forever searching, forever sorrowful. Her whispers wrapped around the trees and spiraled into the dark sky, haunting enough to make your skin crawl. Was she warning them? Or was she luring them toward a destiny they weren't prepared to face? Then there were the strange lights that danced on the water at midnight, flickering orbs that seemed to defy nature, twisting and turning with a life of their own. Barrels of nerves tightened as tales of strange disappearances came rushing back like a tidal wave. What happened to those who strayed too close to the edge? What have the ripples whispered to the surface, begging to be heard? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the night thickened, a bone-chilling wind whipped through the trees, breaking the silence with a low moan. The heartbeat of the lake seemed to quicken, pulsing alongside the adrenaline that shot through their veins. Curiosity mingled with fear, and that haunting feeling crept back. Was it their perception, or did the trees lean in closer, as if to eavesdrop? Only the bold, and perhaps the insane, would dare to come face to face with the dark essence of the lake. But what would they discover? What awaited them in the shroud of night? The air crackled with energy, and something unseen lurked just beyond the shadows, ready to pull them in. The wind howled, grazing skin like icy fingers as Jamie stepped cautiously out onto the dock, her pulse quickening with every creak of the wood beneath her. The lake, usually a placid surface under the comforting glow of day, now thrashed like an angry beast. Shadows danced beyond the reach of the flashlight she held, and the stories she'd heard kicked at the walls of her mind like a caged animal seeking escape. "Is anyone out there?" she shouted, her voice trembling, ricocheting off the stillness. Silence swallowed her words. Heart pounding, she felt the weight of eyes upon her. Were they just her imagination? Or was that ghostly woman in white lingering just outside her line of sight? The tales teased her sanity, drawing her deeper into the lake's embrace. Suddenly, a flicker of light pierced the darkness, just beyond the water's edge. It pulsed rhythmically, almost invitingly. Jamie knew she should turn back. Something cold twisted in her gut, but she was drawn to it, like a moth to the flame. What secrets did the lake hide this time? Cautiously, she edged closer, the chill of the air wrapping around her like a shroud. The light danced erratically, shifting as if beckoning her to follow. A voice, soft and sorrowful, broke through the night. "Help me find them." Jamie's breath caught in her throat. The woman from the stories, that mournful spirit, was real. Who are you?" Jamie called, feeling a surge of courage wash over her, yet knowing in her heart this wasn't a safe game. "Mommy," the whisper coiled like smoke around her, and a pang of heartbreak pierced through her fear. She squinted into the darkness, hoping for a glimpse of the lost children. But the waters rippled ominously, a reminder of the ageless curse enveloping this lake. Instead of comforting shadows, Jamie felt a heavy pull from the depths, urging her to step closer. As if the lake recognized her contribution of fear and curiosity, it promised revelation with a price. "No," she shouted, stepping back, heart racing. "I'm not here to play games." But the light flickered even faster now, and behind it, silhouettes began to form, shifting and merging until they became a sight too horrifying to comprehend. Ghostly figures emerged from the water. They looked like children, their eyes wide with an eternal longing. And yet within their small forms lay a darkness that chilled her soul. The protective barrier of fear crumbled, and Jamie turned on her heel to flee. The sudden realization hit her like a wave. These spirits weren't lost to the depths, they were bound to them, eternally trapped in their sorrow. As she sprinted back to the shore, the air crackled with energy, both terrifying and alive. She glanced over her shoulder one last time, and the children stared back, their faces twisted in anguish, mouths silently screaming for help. Jamie's heart raced like a wild stallion in her chest. The dock felt perilously unstable under her weight as she dashed for the house, panic flooding her system. What was she running from? What would she tell her friends back home? They would think she was mad if she said anything. But the truth clung to her. She had to uncover the mystery of the lake, to delve deeper into its history, before another unwary soul was drawn into its depths. She shoved the door behind her shut, locking out the terror, but she knew she could feel that it was just the beginning. As dawn began to break, and hues of orange and pink glimmered on the horizon, Jamie's determination surged within her. She'd discover the truth behind the sorrow. But what threat lay in wait? What if the lake demanded more than just curiosity? And there, as the first rays of morning light kissed the surface, the haunting whispers resumed, a chilling promise that the night was far from over. The sun's rays flickered tentatively over the lake, casting an eerie glow that made Jamie's skin crawl. Each step she took away from the dock sent her thoughts spiraling. She couldn't shake the faces of the children from her mind, innocent, yet filled with despair, and that ghostly woman, what had she really seen? As she paced in her room, her heart racing, Jamie felt the walls of her sanctuary close in. The stories her friends had shared echoed through her thoughts, vivid and alive. They had laughed around bonfires over marshmallows, casual tales of ghostly figures and haunted nooks. But this wasn't just a story. This was real. The morning air felt heavy, taunting her to confront whatever waited for her outside. Jamie pulled on a jacket and made her way to the kitchen, the strength of her resolve crystallizing like ice. She needed answers no matter how terrifying. Outside, she felt fragile, like a single leaf trembling on a branch. The lake shimmered, deceptively beautiful, hiding whatever darkness lurked beneath. Gripping the flashlight, she decided to return to the dock. Each creak of the wood felt like it was echoing through her bones, a reminder that danger lurked close. Her breath hitched as she stepped onto the dock again. The water glistened like silver, but the flickering light had vanished, leaving behind a silence that clawed at her mind. She scanned the area, hoping to catch sight of the woman or the children, yet knowing that what she found could shatter her. "Why are you here?" she shouted, the words flying from her lips. "What do you want from me?" A soft ripple echoed across the surface, and a shadow crested at the far end of the dock. Jamie squinted, her heart drumming wildly. "Show yourself," she demanded, holding the flashlight steady as the beam pierced the gloom. For a moment, nothing but silence returned. Then, just as she thought she might go mad with worry, the light flickered back into existence, pulsating at an agonizingly slow rhythm. The air around her tightened, currents of dread washing over her. Rising apprehensions mingled with an odd sense of closure. The shadows bled together into shapes people, mingled ethereally. Then, the voice returned, clearer this time. "Help us find peace." The urgency in the voices made her shiver. They were trapped and aching, just waiting for a chance to break free. Jamie leaned against the railing, her mind torn. Should she dive deeper into this murky history? She shuddered at the thought of what truths she could unearth, but the weight of their longing pulled at her heart. Just then, a child's laughter echoed through her mind, bright yet tinged with despair. It chilled her to the bone. She realized then that she couldn't turn away. Not when there was an opportunity to save them, to free the spirits that cried out from the depths. "What do I need to do?" she breathed, heart racing, echoing her question to the wind. Without warning, the dock groaned, and the water surged, sending up splashes that seemed to mimic a desperate plea. Jamie stumbled back, startled. Had she really heard the echo of a child? There was no time to waste. With a newfound determination, she clung to the hope for answers. As she prepared to investigate further, Jamie heard a soft voice behind her. "You're not ready." The icy strands of dread braided into her spine, twisting around her thoughts. Jamie whipped around, expecting to see the child or the woman, but there was nothing. Only the lake's ominous breathing as the shadows deepened. Who had spoken? Panic gripped her as she felt the lake's pull once again. What awaited her beneath the surface? What truly lay within its depths? And what had she just unleashed upon herself? As the wind howled loudly once more, Jamie stood at a precipice, on the brink between the known and the unknown. She would have to choose. The only way out was through. The light flickered hesitantly again, almost as if it were waiting for her to decide. Would she take the plunge into the mystery that enveloped the lake? Or would fear chain her to the shore? The choice surged within her, but it felt like time was running out. And as the sun dipped low, shadows stretched ominously, hinting that the choice had already been made. How deep would she dare to go? A chill ran down Jamie's spine, freezing her in place. The voice was soft but insistent, the kind that burrowed into the mind and scratched at the edges of sanity. She could almost feel the weight of unseen eyes watching her, waiting. Heart pounding, she clutched the flashlight, its beam flickering as if aware of her growing anxiety. "Who are you?" Jamie shouted into the thickening shadows, fighting to keep her voice steady. The surface of the lake mirrored her turmoil, occasionally twitching as if alive. An unsettling silence enveloped her, stretching endlessly between the world of the living and the realm of phantoms. "You're not ready," the voice repeated, this time lingering in her ears like a haunting echo. With each passing second, the darkness surrounding her felt thicker, more suffocating. Summoning every ounce of courage, she took a step forward, resolving that she needed to know what lay behind this eerie facade. "I can help," she called out, frustration bubbling within her. "Tell me what I need to do." A sudden gust of wind whipped around her, yanking at her clothes and pushing her back just as the water surged again, relentless and demanding. Jamie staggered, the dock creaking ominously beneath her. Was this the lake's way of warning her, or urging her onward? Then, the light from her flashlight caught something in the water. A flicker of white, a ghostly hand. Heart racing, she leaned over the edge of the dock, the cool chill of panic gnawing at her. "Who are you?" she whispered, her mind racing through the stories she had heard, the bones of those lost beneath the surface, never to find rest. Suddenly, a ripple broke the reflection of the twilight sky, and her breath caught. The view warped, pulling her gaze to a scene beneath the water's skin, a shadow of a once happy family playing together, laughter echoing faintly, tinged with sorrow. But the corner of the vision twisted and darkened, resentment curling around the light like a smothering blanket. "Help us," they floated, their eyes pleading. Desperation surged through Jamie as she realized what lay behind those darkened smiles. "How can I help you?" The words tumbled from her lips, urgency palpable in her tone, that a figure rose slightly beneath the surface, its figure now clear, a child, no older than 6, with light glistening like moonbeams on her hair, eyes wide with a mix of hope and desperation. "You must find the truth," the child urged, her voice small and trembling. We are lost." Tears pricked Jamie's eyes. "But how?" she cried, feeling a deep-seated empathy for the child's plight. Would she truly become ensnared in this darkness, digging for truths better left buried? Could she sift through the bones of the past without crumbling under the weight of their whispers? The child's image flickered, fading like a distant memory, dragging her emotions down with it. "Find what lies beneath." The child's voice reverberated as if carried on the waves, and Jamie felt the icy fingers of fear squeezing her heart. With every fiber in her being, Jamie understood that to uncover the truth, she needed to dive deeper, not just into the water, but into the secrets shrouded by time. The dock creaked louder as it protested her hesitation, each groan an echo of lost lives, their stories interwoven with her own. Suddenly, the water roiled, and the eerie glow erupted around her, encircling her like tendrils seeking a grip. A realization washed over her. Time was slipping through her fingers. "Please," Jamie yelled, igniting a desperate flame deep within her soul. "I will find the truth. Just show me the way." In that moment, as the last rays of the sun disappeared behind the horizon, shadows gathered, swirling into a vortex of mystery and dread. An ominous whisper wrapped around her, a promise of enlightenment, yet tinged with the sweet thorns of danger. "Dive in," They chanted in unison, a chorus rising from the depths, the darkness coiling around her. It felt as if the lake itself was awakening, urging her to surrender. How far would the darkness welcome her? With the world shrinking around her, Jamie took another step forward, the wood creaking beneath her weight. Could she summon the courage to plunge into the unknown? As she felt the first drop of rain on her face, Jamie's heart raced not from fear, but from the thrill of the impending storm. A storm that would unveil the haunted past of the lake and perhaps bring clarity to the lost souls seeking peace. But as the lake's surface began to boil, she was left wondering, what else awaited her in the depths? What terrifying truths lurked in the shadowy embrace of the water? Only one way to find out. The moment Jamie's foot left the dock, she felt the world shift around her. The sound of the water grew louder, crashing against her ears like a relentless tide. The air turned thick, almost palpable, as if the lake itself were pushing back against her decision. With a wild heart, she plunged into the cold embrace of the water, a sharp gasp escaping her lips as the icy liquid enveloped her body. She sank deeper and deeper. Light fractured above, transforming into muted hues that danced around her. The warmth in her chest battled against the suffocating chill, urging her to keep going. The murmur of the lost souls surrounded her, wrapping around her like a shroud. Their voices swirled, a mixture of fear and hope, echoing through the water. "Find us," they called, an echo of despair resonating within every stroke she took. Jamie kicked her legs, her lungs screaming for air. She focused on the darkness below, fighting against the pull of panic that threatened to drown her. Her flashlight flickered erratically, illuminating fleeting images, shapes shifting in the shadows, reaching hands and distorted faces caught in eternal torment. The world above faded as she reached a deeper layer of the lake, where the sunlight could no longer penetrate. The cold seeped in, but she pressed on, desperate to uncover the truth she had promised to find. At last, a glimmer caught her eye, a soft glow emerging from a tangled mass of weeds that reached out like skeletal fingers. Jamie felt an invisible force urging her closer. Drawing nearer, she could make out a figure, unmistakably human, trapped amongst the snarl of roots and discarded memories. It was a woman, her eyes wide with terror, pleading silently for release. Jamie's heart broke at the sight. She recognized the carry of sorrow on her face. It mirrored the child's. Barely registering the cold, Jamie reached out, grasping the woman's hand. The water thrummed with energy, and in that touch, a shockwave of emotions crashed over her. She saw glimpses of the past, the woman smiling with a family, laughing over summer picnics, until a sudden, dark spiral, a boat capsizing, shrieks of horror that filled the very air Jamie breathed. "Help me," the woman gasped, her voice bubbling up through the water. "We can't escape this place." Suddenly, the lake convulsed. Jamie was pulled back, losing her grip. With every ounce of strength, she fought against the current, spiraling upwards as panic set in. Streams of light flickered above her, teasing her with the promise of air. But just as she neared the surface, a shadow loomed. A figure submerged below, an imposing presence, watching her with hollow eyes that glowed with a spectral malice. Desperation clawed at her, filling her lungs with the nipping sting of drowning. She was torn between the urge to escape and her need to help the lost souls. "Don't leave us," the voices pleaded, intertwining, creating a symphony of anguish around her. Just then, an arm shot out from the darkness, grabbing her ankle with an iron grip, dragging her downward once more. Jamie's heart pounded louder, fear tightening its clutches. The icy jaws of the lake were closing, and the loss of breath magnified her terror. She had made a promise to find the truth, but at what cost? Would she, too, become ensnared in the depths, joining the souls who grieved beneath the surface? With instinct kicking in, she twisted and kicked, pulling free from the dark grasp. The pulse of desperation surged within her. Summoning every ounce of will, she surged upward, breaking through to the fresh air above. Jamie gasped, lungs burning, as she emerged from the water's grip, but the haunting whispers lingered, echoing in her mind. "You must return," they beckoned, a dark allure that tangled with her fear, igniting a flame of determination. As she gasped for breaths beneath the fading twilight, Jamie could feel in her bones that she was far from finished. The truths buried beneath the lake were far deeper than she had ever imagined, and something sinister had awoken from its slumber. What darkness awaited beneath the surface? And would Jamie unravel the secrets before they consumed her entirely? With dread sinking in, she turned back slowly to face the turbulent waters. It felt like a call to the depths. "I will return," she vowed, her voice shaky yet firm. But was that truly a promise or merely a flirtation with fate? The shadows beneath the lake stirred, ready to unveil their mysteries, if only she could gather the courage to dive once more. The water shimmered darkly beneath the moonlight as Jamie clutched the dock's edge, her heart thundering in her chest. Each wave lapping at the wood echoed the lost soul's call, their persistent voices tugging at her mind. "You must return," with the cool night air filling her lungs. She hesitated, staring into the depths where terror had gripped her moments ago. The woman's plea echoed, weaving into her thoughts. What had she seen? What truth lay tangled with those memories? She couldn't shake the sensation that the lake hungered, that it cradled secrets that could rend her soul. "Just one more look," she whispered into the night, adrenaline thrilling through her veins. A flicker of resolve ignited within her. She was not just a witness to the horror, but a potential savior or a target. Still trembling, Jamie secured her flashlight and entered the water again. The cold snatched her breath, clutching at her limbs as dread loomed over her like a storm cloud. Yet, the whispers grew louder, vibrating through her. "Find us," pushing deeper, she fought against the heavy water, channeling every ounce of determination into her limbs. This descent had an urgency, an unput-downable need to uncover whatever lay hidden in the dark. The spectral figure hovered in her mind, drawing her nearer. Suddenly, the darkness around her shifted. The souls whispered louder, a cacophony of grief swelling in her ears. Shapes danced in the shadows, the same faces she'd glimpsed before, faces that spoke of anguish yet implored her to help. Were they once like her? Each flicker of light from her flashlight revealed more patches of sorrow, lost memories craving release. Then something shifted in the lake, an undercurrent of power resonated. Jamie, the voice of the woman, echoed, now unmistakable and potent. "You are the key. Find my child, our child, the truth binds us all." Terror bled through her, but it was accompanied by an odd spark of purpose. Could she truly save them? Or was that just another trick of the depths? As her mind raced, Jamie spotted another glow, almost like a beacon through the murk. Drawing closer, she pushed aside weeds and fragments of lost lives, her heart hammering. But the moment she reached out, the currents twisted, dragging her down into the darkness. Panic surged, but she anchored herself with will, seizing the glow. It illuminated another figure, this one smaller, a child with eyes wide, fear-rooted and longing. "Mommy!" The voice echoed through the lake, fragile but fierce enough to drive a blade straight through Jamie's heart. "Where is she?" Jamie gasped, trance-like as the world spun. "She's drowning with me," the child said, a tear streaming from their cheek, shimmering like the light trying to escape their grief. The grip of the lake tightened around her, muscles clamoring for air. The child reached out, hand trembling, dark waters lapping over fingers, remnants of hope desperately grasping for salvation. Suddenly, the shadows around them writhed in fury, the deeper forces of the lake awakening. A chilling cold seized her, pulling her down, visions swirling like a tempest. "No, you can't take her," Jamie shouted, lashing out against the grip of despair that sought to drown her. "Join us, or be lost forever," a voice boomed from the depths, heavy with malice and echoing through the watery prison. The struggle transformed into a wrestling match against the abyss, every pull dragging Jamie deeper into darkness. But the image of the little girl connected her to a flicker of light, a chance for redemption. With a roar of defiance, Jamie clutched the child's hand tight and kicked fiercely, gritting her teeth against the despair. She was becoming a lifeline, and yet the lake retaliated in fury, thrashing, dragging them further into its depths. Just as a gasp of new air brushed her lips, the ground beneath her shifted violently, and shadows enveloped them again. Had Jamie truly found a path to salvation, or had she sealed their fates instead? As the last glimmer of light disappeared, Jamie's thoughts raced with the weight of her failures. "I won't let you." Down she whispered into the darkness, her vow a faint echo in the growing chaos. What would she find if she could surface again? Could she truly rescue the child? Or would she become just another sorrowful whisper beneath the lake? With urgent determination, she pulled with all her might, fighting the grasp of despair and heartbreak tangled in uncertainty wrapped around her heart. The frigid grip of the lake tightened around Jamie as the shadows roared with fury. Her heart raced, pounding against her ribcage like a caged bird desperate to escape. The child's hand felt small and frail in her grasp, and panic surged through her veins. "We have to go?" she gasped, pulling the girl closer as dark tendrils whipped around them, dragging them further into the watery void. But something deep within the lake rattled her resolve. Flashes of faces swirled in her mind, the woman from earlier, a flash of raw desperation, eyes wide and pleading. "The truth binds us," those words echoed like a distant siren song, and Jamie struggled against the overwhelming urge to surrender. Was that truth ahead or a cruel trap? With an urgent flick of her wrist, she switched on her flashlight, the beam cutting through the gloom, revealing a nightmare of twisted shadows, a swirling vortex of lost souls forever caught, yearning for saviors but dragging them down instead. Jamie fought back a gasp as she swept the light across the water's surface. The murk rippled and shifted, revealing shapes that flickered like ghosts before her. "Help us," the voices layered in a haunting chorus, drowning her in despair. Breath hitched in her throat. "They're lying. You can't believe them." Uncertainty gnawed at her. The struggle within the lake was not just for survival. It was a fight for her very soul. Determined not to succumb, she flicked her flashlight toward the child. "Stay with me. Trust me." Jamie's grip tightened around the small hand. The child's wide eyes met hers, filled with hope and fear, and in that moment, Jamie knew what she had to do. "Hold on tight," she yelled, kicking violently against the dark water. She maneuvered through the brackish depths, propelled by desperation. But just when it seemed like they might break free, the lake roared back. The water churned around them with a fury that sent icy tendrils snaking into Jamie's bones, wrapping her in freezing dread, demanding she give in. "No," she screamed, flinging the beam of her light toward the shadows. "I want to let you take her. I want to." The words thundered in the chaotic swirl of grief around them, and she willed herself to believe it. She had to believe it. Suddenly, she felt the vortex shift. The pull of the depths wrestled against the warmth of the child beside her. With every ounce of strength she had left, Jamie flung her legs out and kicked harder, propelling herself upward. The light flickered like a dying star, but she refused to let it go. The lake roared again, louder this time, reverberating through the water like a freight train. Jamie heard it through the adrenaline, a deep growl that warned her of an impending wrath. "You cannot escape, child of the living." Just when Jamie thought she might drown in that darkness, the lake seemed to hesitate, as if waiting for something. "You must choose." The voices twisted, rising, consuming. "Join us, or lose your light forever." Time stretched as Jamie faced the swirling darkness, the treacherous whispers clawing at her resolve. She glanced at the child, panic-stricken, determination sparking in her own heart. "No, I choose to save you." And with that, she focused all her energy and memory on the surface, the glimmering moonlight, each breath, each laugh she had taken for granted, all the warmth she had lived for. It surged within her, igniting every fiber of her being to if responding to her defiance. The water surged violently, threatening to pull her back, but she fought against it, defying it with everything she was. The glow began to brighten, and with a final surge, she pulled the child tightly against her, propelling them both toward freedom. But the lake hadn't given up yet. As they surged upward, a final, desperate scream echoed through the depths, a sudden burst of rage. "You cannot leave us." The shadows came alive, grasping at her ankles, dragging her back with ferocious strength. The surface was near, but Jamie felt the tug of despair coiling around her again. Just before they could break free, the dark waters wrapped around them in one last effort to claim them into eternal sorrow. Would she pass through the veil of light or descend into darkness forever? In a flash of white-hot clarity, Jamie gripped the child tighter. "We'll make it." But as they surged toward the surface, the shadows screamed and surged with renewed fury. Would the light engulf them both, or scatter them lost to the void forever. The surface loomed closer, shimmering like a promise. Jamie kicked harder, heart hammering wildly in her chest as the shadows clawed and howled, roaring in agony at her defiance. The darkness felt alive, a gnashing beast roused to fury. She gritted her teeth, unwilling to give in. Just a little more. Her voice cracked, desperation spilling over as icy fingers wrapped tighter around her legs, pulling her into the depths. The murmur of the lake twisted around her, mocking and angry. You will not escape. We are your truth. The surface sparkled above. Jamie could see the moonlight dancing like hope, a beacon guiding them home. Don't you dare let go, she urged the girl, squeezing the tiny hand that rested in hers. The stillness of fear shadowed the child's eyes, but there was also something glimmering trust. When Jamie focused, with the last wavering light, she could see it reflected back in the kid's gaze. Then the shadows surged, a dark wave that roared and surged, battling against their ascent. Jamie felt the impossible weight of sadness pressing down on her, threatening to crush her will. Memories washed over her faces of those who had vanished, whispering tales of how the lake had won. But she could not let those echoes drown her hope. No, I am stronger than you, she shouted defiantly, feeling the resolve sharpen her instincts in that moment. Something inside her sparked. The glow from her flashlight flickered and then surged brightly. It shot through the murk like a spear of pure will, illuminating the faces of the specters lingering in the depths. They were a vivid reminder of what they had lost. Jamie felt the child pulling back, but Jamie held on tight. We are alive. With one final thrust, they broke the surface, water exploding around them, the moon's ethereal glow suddenly blinding. Breathless, she heaved in the precious air, coarse and fresh. But when she quickly turned to look at the child, the joy turned to dread. She was alone. Where are you? Panic drummed in Jamie's head as she scanned the surface of the water, frantic. But the girl had vanished, swallowed whole by the shadows. No, don't let them take her. The waters swirled around, the haunting voice echoing. You cannot save what is lost. Fear washed over Jamie, threatening to drag her back in. She swam harder, a wave of regret crashing over her. What do you want? She gasped, fighting against the currents, visions of the little girl flashing through her mind like a life barely escaped. What is the truth? The lake trembled, roiling in response, and with it came a hidden knowledge like a memory locked away. The truth? It whispered, cold and taunting. The truth binds all. A sacrifice must be made suddenly. A violent ripple undercut her, pulling her off balance. Shadows emerged from the depths, writhing like serpents, reaching for her once more. You chose to save a life. What will you give in return? One must pay the price. Jamie's heart sank like a stone as terror clawed at her throat. They would drain her spirit for the child she had desperately clung to. No, I choose. A chorus of lost souls cried in unison, their voices a dreadful symphony that hit her, a realization both terrifying and liberating. She could either fight for the girl or embrace the truth that was begging to surface. Would she sacrifice her own peace to rescue a love caught in darkness? Before she could think, limbs screaming from exhaustion, she took a steadying breath. I will save her. I will pay whatever price. The shadows paused, silence engulfing the lake as if reality thrummed, waiting. In that moment, Jamie realized the real battle wasn't against the lake, it was within her own soul. Would she delve into the depths of her own hidden despair? Or could she find a way to tip the balance and rescue the child and herself? The undercurrent surged, ready to pull her under. Time froze, an eternity of choices colliding in waves of dark and light. What would she find at the heart of the lake? The currents twisted violently around Jamie, pulling her deeper and deeper as though the lake itself was a sentient creature hungry for her despair. She felt the chill seep into her bones, a stark contrast to the last flickers of hope burning inside her. Would she regret her choice, or would it lead her to the child? Let me go? She screamed, defiance bubbling in her chest. But the shadows only laughed, the sound a cacophony of sorrow and rage. Each face of lost souls jutted out from the murk, eyes wide and hollow, lips whispering her fears back to her. You are not strong enough, they taunted, clawed hands stretching toward her, urging her surrender. No, Jamie gasped, flailing against them. I am strong. I won't let you take her. The coldness wrapped tighter, binding her like a serpent ready to strike. Yet, within that binding emerged a flicker of understanding, a connection to the lost souls that drifted around her. They weren't just whispers of despair. They were echoes of those who had loved fiercely, just as she did. Perhaps, just maybe, if she could harness that love, it could be her weapon. With a fierce resolve, Jamie closed her eyes, envisioning the child bright and innocent. I won't give up on you, she whispered. I refuse to let you fade into this darkness. As the shadows clawed for her, a warmth swirled through her, pushing against the cold, an ember ignited by pure will. Your love is a currency. The voice of the lake droned again, amused. What makes you think it can combat the truth? I am willing to sacrifice my truth for hers. Jamie shouted, the words erupting from her like a storm. Then it shifted. The swirling shadows recoiled as if struck. For a brief moment, Jamie felt lightness, hope tethered to a thread, teetering on the edge of the abyss. But just as quickly, the darkness surged forward, a ravenous beast sensing vulnerability, feeding on her declaration. Sacrifice? What will you truly give? The voice boomed, echoing through the watery void, its tone tinged with amusement. Her heart raced faster than her breath, reality rushing back. A price? No. She wouldn't let fear claim her. I will give everything, she shouted, feeling her heart expand with the words. Take my pain. Take my memories. Just bring her back. Each phrase felt like a lifeline tethering her to the surface, vibrating with urgency. Suddenly, the shadows shifted, their grip loosening like an unseen force released. For every unfulfilled dream, for each tear shed in silence, she felt weight lifting, the shadows hesitating as if puzzled by the unexpected rejection of fear. But the lake wouldn't release her so easily. A monstrous wave tumbled below, thrumming angrily, swirling darkness intent on reclaiming its prize. You wish to fight for her, yet deny your own truth? You misunderstand the sacrifice. Hearts pounding, she thought of all the moments life had dimmed her spirit, the voices of cascading doubt, the fears she held back, anxieties locked deep within. I refuse to let you claim that too. Just then, the surface glinted above, the moon casting a silver sheen that beckoned to her. She spoke to the darkness, her voice a trembling hymn. I will not hide from my truth. I will embrace it. The lake roared, and the shadows lunged, but something changed in their movements, less feral, more uncertain. They hesitated, unraveling at the seams, revealing glimpses of the child's form within the turmoil. Jamie's breath hitched. Above her, the moon bore witness, illuminating the scene like a spotlight on a stage. Could she seize her moment? Her heart thudded again, not in fear this time, but in determination. Hold on, Jamie screamed into the abyss, reaching out toward the flickering light of her hope. Would she be able to pull them both from the jaws of despair, or would the lake drag them both into its depths? The battle lines were drawn, and as the shadows writhed in fury, a new spark ignited in Jamie's heart. The truth loomed, waiting for its final verdict. The sacrifice was both theirs, and she was ready to challenge the very nature of the darkness. But as the shadows thickened around her, inciting the storm once more, doubt crept in. Could she really hold on? In that moment of tension, the half-formed figure of the child flickered behind a curtain of darkness, and Jamie's heart soared. Was it too late for hope, or could she rewrite their destiny? The lake's surface churned violently, as a voice in the depths called out again, echoing Jamie's own heart. Are you truly ready for what you will uncover? And with that, the world seemed to tilt, spinning in collision with the truth both long sought and feared. What lay ahead could change everything. Jamie emerged from the cold depths of the lake, gasping for breath as the moonlight painted a silvery sheen on the water's surface. Her heart raced, pounding against her ribcage like a drum calling for war. Where are you? She screamed, panic clawing at her throat. I want to leave you. For a fleeting moment, she thought the darkness might release its hold. The shadows writhing beneath her began to settle, swirling like smoke, but then they roared back with savage fury. She felt the weight of screams pressing in on her, the echoes of lost souls clawing at her resolve. Would she be one of them now? In that instant, Jamie summoned every ounce of strength, focusing on the light above the beacon that promised safety. I want to abandon you. The word echoed in the haunted air, resolving into a declaration of love that could reach even the darkest corners. With determination blazing in her heart, she kicked hard, surging toward the point where moonlight met water. As she neared the surface, a dark hand shot up from below, grasping at her ankle. No, I want to let you take me. But something shifted. The voice of the woman, so filled with sorrow, flowed through the currents. Together, Jamie, the truth will set us free. And with that, a flash of connection ignited. Jamie wasn't just saving the child. She was claiming her own truth, her own power over the darkness that sought to consume her. Summoning all her courage, she breathed deep and joined hands with the murky water. I'll lift you from despair, she promised, recalling every moment of loss, every sorrow that had shaped her. Above her, light shimmered, promising not just freedom for the child, but a reconciliation with every lost whisper caught in the depths. The dark waters, writhing in defiance, suddenly hesitated, recognizing the shift in her resolve. A brilliant light exploded around them, illuminating the shadows, revealing silhouettes of lost souls caught in despair, a broken family, forgotten children, all lingering, all aching for release. Together, screamed Jamie, her voice mingling with a chorus of shimmering spirits. Let us do this. The shadows surged toward her, but now they were no longer just encroaching darkness. They were memories, and with each powerful thought of love and grief, Jamie thrust them aside. I know your pain, but I will not succumb. I will rescue her. Suddenly, she felt an overwhelming force pulling her toward the surface. The shadows howled, a cacophony of rage and understanding. At that moment, love triumphed over despair. A piercing white light enveloped them, and everything shifted. They shot upward through the water, racing against the shadows that clawed at them. Keep going, Jamie shouted to the child as they soared towards the surface, the moon now a sun, illuminating their escape. Above them, the light of the world beckoned, shimmering with hope. We can break free. With one final push, they burst forth from the depths. Jamie emerged, dragging the child along with her. They gasped for air, trembling from the cold, both shining like stars as the water dripped from their bodies. But the lake thrashed angrily around them. You can't escape, it bellowed, its voice echoing through the air. The truth binds us all. Jamie turned toward the lake, fearless. Not anymore, she shouted, defiance ringing from her lips. You will not claim anyone else. As if responding to her challenge, the shadows writhed in fury, bulging and twisting, and then they began to disperse. The whispers grew softer, the despair lessened. Jamie felt a wave of warmth fill her up, flooding them with the blessings of the lost ones. This is your truth, a whisper from the depths reminded, calming yet powerful. You have set us free. In that moment of clarity, Jamie understood she had not only rescued the child, but also brought solace to those trapped in sorrow. She felt the warmth of love fill her as the faces of the lost appeared one by one, smiling softly, fading into the light. Thank you. Their voices whispered, resonating through her heart, washing away the darkness, and then it was quiet. The lake shimmered peacefully under the moon, no longer the embodiment of fear, but a tranquil guardian of memories healed. Jamie embraced the child tightly, looking into those innocent eyes filled again with hope and wonder. You're safe. We did it. As dawn began to break, painting the horizon with golden promises, Jamie swallowed hard, a lump of emotions spreading in her throat. She had uncovered the truth. She sought love conquers darkness, and each lost soul deserved to be remembered, set free. With grief still lingering but hope alive, she looked at the lake one last time. Thank you, she whispered, sending her heart out towards the water. Turning away from the past, she faced a brighter future, a promise woven in the first rays of sunlight, ready to share her story, a story of shadows defeated, of love shining fiercely against the encroaching darkness. But hand in hand with the child, Jamie knew she'd return to remember. Not just to this lake, but wherever truth and love needed a voice. With that vow made, they walked forward together, steps echoing against the shore, hearts lightened, and spirits forever entwined in a tale that would never die. The end. Now, You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share. This is the moment to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of acting now.